Today I wanted to share my ongoing story with my Ramshorn Snail Infestation. When I first noticed that I had a snail in my tank, I was like, oh, cool, a new creature in my tank. I didn't know that there even was such a thing as snail infestation, so I was happy when I first saw a snail in my tank. I'm part of a fish group, and I asked them information about this snail, and several people were like, kill it. You don't want those in your tank. And I was like, what? No, mean. I don't want to kill it. They were right. I should have killed it. And a few weeks later, there was like 10 more snails. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then as time passes, there's like 50. Then there's hundreds of snails. And it really didn't bother me. The looks of them don't bother me. I read that a lot of people don't want them in their tank just for aesthetic reasons. They don't like the looks of tons of little snails in their tank, which I understand that. I don't feel the same way. They were keeping my algae down, which was really nice because I hate scrubbing algae. My fish never would eat them. I wished that they would eat them. That would be nice. None of them showed any interest in eating any of the snails. When I researched them, I found out that Ramshorn snails are hermaphrodites and they do not need male and female to breed. And that explains the explosive amount of snails that I was getting. When it started to bother me, though, is when I noticed they're eating my plants. And I was like, that's it. Because my plants are my pride and joy for my fish tank. So I started to pick them all out, which don't bother doing that. It's a waste of time because you can't pick them all out. There are too many. Just look at how they devoured this leaf. And it looks like it was a healthy leaf until they started eating it. And it just made me so sad. So I made up my mind one day that I was going to take everything out of my tank, pick every snail off of every plant and every piece of driftwood, and put them in 5-gallon buckets, and then leave my fish tank empty until I killed every snail that was in it. I left all my plants in 5-gallon buckets for about 2 weeks and would pick snails off of them. This was about a 4-hour project. My fish took it really well. Aquatic plants is actually the whole reason I even got interested in aquarium keeping. My very first tank was actually a 1/2-gallon fish bowl with a java fern in it and 2 ghost shrimp. So I vacuumed out all my rocks. I don't actually do that very deeply because my plants are all there and I don't pull out my plants. And look at this black water. I use all of my fish tank water to water my plants, and my plants have been very thankful for it. They've been bushier and greener and happier ever since I started watering them with my fish tank water. I suppose there's quite a bit of fertilizer in that water. So here I am in the process of picking off every snail because look at my plant. They're shredding my leaves and it makes me so sad. So I sat down and I picked snails off my plants for a long time. I put all my plants back. This was after about 2 weeks of them sitting in buckets, and here I am searching to see if there's any snails left. Because I worked so hard and I was so angry. And what is that? How do they make it? It's like, any more? I don't see more. That doesn't mean there aren't more. But I noticed, of course, that my algae increased dramatically. Oh, there is another one. Yeah, picking them all off, you will get rid of like 90% of them, but you won't get rid of 100% because their eggs are practically transparent and they're really hard to find if you've got a lot of leaves. So I went to the store after doing some research and bought some assassin snails, which apparently eat Ramshorn snails. So I figured it was time. Got these at my local fish store. One of them was practically all black, so I actually haven't seen him for a really long time. I don't know where he is because he looks like one of my rocks. But 2 of them are still alive. One of them died after about 2 months, which was sad. I'm assuming if you have sand in your aquarium, they'll do this better, but they bury themselves and come up and kill a snail that crosses over them. And after having them for a month, I'm seeing a lot of empty white Ramshorn snails. So they seem to be doing their job. I still have a lot of snails, but I haven't noticed a ton of plant eating. I think I might need more to keep the numbers down, because I honestly don't mind the Ramshorn snails. I don't mind them in my tank. I like that they're eating the algae and they're keeping my plant leaves clean, which is wonderful. It's just when they run out of algae, they eat my plants, which is really annoying. So, have you had a struggle with Ramshorn snails? Or trumpet snails? I've heard about them. I haven't gotten those yet. Or any other pest snails or creatures that have overrun your tank? I would love to hear about them. I would love to hear your solutions to getting rid of Ramshorn snails. And I would love to hear your experience if you've had them. Thank you very much for watching and have an awesome day.